Today on the bench we're going to tie you something a little different, and it's a tube fly, and it's called the Coho Killer. You need a special tube flying kit to actually be able to tie tubes, and we use the one supplied by Umer. Make sure you have these materials ready before you tie the fly. You'll need some crazy glue and a lighter to use for the tube pattern, a 20mm by 4 orange cone head and body, some purple polar bear hair for the first wing, some pink purple flashabou for the flash. For the hackle we'll use a burnt orange grizzly, some claret fox for the second wing, 4 strands of red ostrich herl for the back, and an orange cone for the cone. The first step to the fly is assemble your tube, and here's how we do it. We're going to take our thin material tube that's supplied, push it through the bigger orange tube that we have supplied. Going to take our lighter and just burn the one end just to cause a little crease. Slide our orange tube onto that, so that actually gives us our fly tying base. Now we're going to take our wider tube supplied, and before we put it on the tailing end of our orange body, we're going to put just a dab of super glue on there. And all this is going to do is hold that tube end so it doesn't fall off. Just wipe off a little bit of that super glue. Our tube is assembled and ready to put onto our vise. So all we do is slide this onto our vise until it becomes tight right to the end, and we're ready for tying. Now that we have the body onto the tube flying assembly, we're going to take some 8/0 or actually 3/0 black thread, and we'll start it right in front and just wrap it up. Keep it thin, form a little base. Take a patch of your purple polar bear hair and measure it back so the purple polar bear just goes past the end of your thicker tube, and just tie that in the front, just so you have your first wing put in. Now that the purple polar bear hair is tied in, we're going to take our flash, and I've taken 4 strands of my pink and purple flashabou, and I'm just going to put it under my thread, just so I can wrap it equally on both sides, and bring it to the back. Now what we want to do is when we cut this, we want to cut it in various angles, just so that it's about the length or just a little bit longer than our polar bear, and it should be varying lengths. Take a burnt orange hackle and strip off the base, and now we're going to tie it in again right behind the orange body. Cut off that excess and then wrap it forward to form the hackle. And as you're wrapping, keep pulling the hackle back. This way your hackle's going to splay out over the body and be palmered backwards, which is what we want. After the hackle's tied in and pushed back, we're going to take a clump of our claret fox. And again, we want to measure this claret back so that it's just past our flashabou tips and our purple polar bear we put in earlier, and then tie it in the front. Take 4 strands of your red ostrich herl, and again tie it in right at the head of the hook. And when you pull it back, we're going to cut these, and they go right along the back, and just cut them on an angle just a little bit longer than the fox we just put in, so it tapers back when it's in the water. To finish the fly off, we're going to go through 2 steps. We're actually going to whip finish our thread, cut it off, and then put the bead on. And to finish the bead, I'll show you that once we whip finish. So let's give it a whip finish and put the bead on. Okay. Now that your thread is tied off and you've got your bead onto your fly, what we're going to do is take it off the vise, and we're just going to cut the end of our tube near the bead. And then I'm going to take my lighter and just melt the end until I get a nice bead right down on top of the fly, and that holds it all together. And there it is, the finished Coho Killer, and it really does work well for the coho. If you don't have a tube flying kit, go to the Umer.com site, that's EUMER.com, and they'll set you up with all the things you need to be able to tie these tube flies. To watch all our latest Sport Fishing on the Fly episodes and to order Sport Fishing on the Fly merchandise, head to www.sfotf.ca. And if you would like to book an adventure like this one showing, head to ontheflyadventures.ca and book yourself the trip of a lifetime.